Eurobox presents Out of Nowhere, written by Andrew Price. Out of Nowhere is an evocative and introspective memoir that traces the emotional and psychological journey of a man as he navigates the complexities of love, betrayal, grief, and ultimately rebirth. With elegant prose and unflinching honesty, the author shares his lived experience of being pulled into a relationship that begins with deep connection and trust, but unravels into a storm of deception and emotional disintegration. Let's now welcome the author, who's our special guest today, to present his new literary work. Hi, Andrew. Welcome, and thank you for being here today.
Hello, and thanks for having me today.
So, what inspired you to turn such a personal and painful experience into a book?
Good question. I don't know how to answer that properly. It probably just a compulsion to write. That came out of nowhere as well. So I didn't really plan to write a book per se, but just felt an urge to start writing down some of my experiences from the past, which I did over a pretty quick period, about 2 weeks. It took me to write the whole story. It took me a lot longer to get it refined into a editable or readable version. But once I did that, I thought, this might be something people are interested in reading, and I shared it with a couple of people, and people, did want to read it. So that's what inspired me to keep going with it.
So was it therapeutic for you to write the book?
Therapeutic? Yeah, yes. It flowed out of me so quickly that I didn't even really get time to, contemplate it in that way. So, but it was definitely an enjoyable experience to write it down in a timeline that was easy to relate to.
I would like to focus just for a second on the title, Out of Nowhere, because it captures the suddenness of, emotional rupture. How did you come to choose it, and what does it represent for you now?
Choosing a title for the book, because obviously I wrote it first without really planning what I was doing. And as I reread the book a few times, or reread the manuscript a few times, it was pretty obvious that the main theme, which we enter into pretty early in the book, is an experience that sort of had no context. And so therefore, the experience of it coming out of nowhere seemed to fit with the title quite well. And how it represents for me now, I guess that's actually still a very similar experience where, while I understand what happened to me a little more than I did, when it happened, it's still a fitting title. It might be a little bit challenging to follow up with the second title, which I've already written a second version of this. But it still fits.
So your book explores how love can sometimes blur the lines between reality and fantasy. What message would you share with readers who find themselves in, similar emotional patterns?
One that most likely you're not crazy. I think that's one of the most challenging things going through an experience like this, the lack of reference points and lack of people to talk to that actually understand what's going and are able to provide any guidance or, direction for such an experience. It's pretty hard. I did talk to a few people, in the years following that experience. And while plenty of people had a few opinions or, perspectives on what might have happened, no one really understood or, was able to give me any real advice that was helpful. So that was part of writing the book, was that, potentially something like this might, show someone else that, they're not crazy and that other people do experience these sorts of things. And that you can still function in the world as well, once you have experienced something like that, which is probably more important.
And now that the book is, as we said, released, it's published, it's not just your own journey, your personal journey. What part of your transformation are you most proud of? And what do you hope readers will carry with them after reading the story?
I don't know if I could say I'm proud of any part of the actual transformation, probably if I had to say, if I had to express what I was proud of the most, is probably being able to write the book and actually have the courage to present that or show that to the world and people that I know, because a lot of people that I know quite close to me don't or are not aware of some of these parts of my life. So I think that's probably what I'm most proud of.
How about the readers? What message do you hope that they take with them?
I think that would be similar. So if it's a reader that can relate to this or is interested in the sort of thing that I've written about, from a personal perspective, to have the courage to keep pursuing the realities that they are experiencing and to keep looking for support or for other people they can relate to in it. And, if there's anyone that just is purely interested in writing, I guess the other thing would be that it looks like anybody can do it, because I certainly didn't have any experience beforehand, and it's been an enjoyable process.
Thank you, Andrew. Thank you again for your time today, and we wish you best luck with your book.
Thank you very much.
Told with a poetic cadence and narrative precision, Out of Nowhere is not just a story of heartbreak, but of awakening. It reminds us that the most unexpected moments can bring us closest to ourselves, and that healing begins when we stop trying to rewrite the past and begin listening to our inner voice. Out of Nowhere by Andrew Price is now available in bookstores and digital platforms. It's a publication by Europbooks.